Hey everybody, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and on today's video I'm talking you through my personal and bookish goals for 2024. You all know I have my bookish goals because ultimately I am a booktube first and foremost, and books and reading is my priority most of the year, but then obviously there are personal goals and I'm going to talk you through a few of those as well. So for booktube I've got a couple of media-ish goals. I've got kind of like numbers goals. I've got a few projects that I want to work on throughout the year, a few video things that I want to bring back from previous years, and I've got a couple of readathons and things like that. So in terms of numbers, at filming I am so close to 900 subscribers, which is insane because at the start of December I was at 700. I posted my reading journal and it exploded, and I'm loving it, and it's fantastic, and hello, welcome if you are new. But at the same time I'm like, whoa, that's much faster than I was expecting. So I was expecting to maybe hit 1,000 subscribers at the end of next year, and now I'm like, I've set that as my soft goal, so that's kind of like where I want to be mid-year. And I've set 1,200 as my kind of end of year ultimate goal, where I'd like to be. Obviously if it's more than that, fantastic. If it's less, still fantastic, because it's just lovely having you all here, but at the same time it's like, if I could, I would. And then some of the bigger projects that I want to work on, I'm bringing back the weekly vlogs because I do enjoy doing them and I do miss them, and I have noticed that they tend to get a lot more engagement, and so that tells me that it's some content that you lot all enjoy. So it makes sense to do weekly vlogs again. I've talked about this quite a bit recently, and so I'm now saying it formally. I will be doing a series throughout certainly the start of the year, looking at manga for beginners. So this is for complete beginners who are brand new to manga, going from the very basics of what even is a manga, what makes a manga, how should you, like the order that you read it, and then talking you through various like the age categories and the names for them and different romance categories, and sort of like what's a shonen ai, what's a seinen, what's a shoujo, talking you through all of those things, and then for each one recommending some beginner friendly mangas. So I will be doing that. We'll be continuing with Adventure-a-thon. I just released the announcement video for January's round. This is a readathon that I created, and I now have two co-hosts who are like my very best friends and partner, because I've just remembered that as of filming, by the time I post this, you will all be aware that I am in a relationship. So my partner and one of my best friends are now supporting me with that, and that takes place in January and September. I'll go check out the link if you want to look at that. I also am running the Changeling read along. I started this in October, and so we're now 4 books. By the time we get to January, we'll be 4 books in. So it's not too late to join. Again, I will link to the video and I will have Discord links below, but that will be continuing. And then some new things that I'm bringing in. Obviously, I've said about the manga series, but I will also be every month, because I'm so bad at remembering to actually use my journal and fill it in properly and set things up for the next month. I'm going to give myself once a month a date to actually come on and do a live where we all plan together and we get our journals and we can do live Q&As about journaling. I'm going to be doing way more journal videos. I say this every year, but next year I've actually got proper plans for it. A couple of sort of weekly / monthly projects I'm going to be bringing back that I've tried over the years and didn't quite get around to finishing, or just they tapered off. One is called Saturday Showcase, which was inspired by Ren's 5 Friday, where they pick a category and then they recommend 5 books that fit that. This is Saturday Showcase. I've got a little jar up here that's full of bits of paper with prompts on. I pick a prompt and then I've got 1 minute to pick out as many books from my shelves as possible that match that prompt and then recommend them to you. And there's also a little project that I started, I think year before last, that I called Alphabetti Boogetti. So sort of like Alphabetti Spaghetti, but with books, so Alphabetti Bookgetti. And so that'll just be hopefully every other week. So then I can do all 26 throughout the year. Will be a book that I recommend for that letter of the alphabet that we're next on, and it will just be, I'm gonna aim to do it that it's a book I've not seen anybody else recommend, so I'm making it even more challenging for myself. But I don't want to, it kind of gets boring when you see the same books recommended all the time, and so I want to try and pick out books that I don't think many people have recommended or that I've seen, to try and just, you know, diversify a bit. And then the big one that won't be happening probably till about May, June, but the big one that I've discussed, and I've had some positive feedback and excitement for this so far, is a Patreon. And this is going to be sort of done in 2 sections. So the very basic entry level, which will be like £1 or £2 a month, gives you access to all the bookish things that I'm going to do. So that's going to be linking into my beginner friendly manga video series. I will then launch through the Patreon. It will go further and we'll do a manga of the month book club. So every month I will pick out a manga, preferably one that also has an anime. So if for any reason you're struggling to read the manga, you can still get the benefits of the story by watching the anime. And we will have a bit of an anime manga session every month. And then we'll do like a live show at the end of each month where we'll watch, it obviously won't be live streamed on YouTube, but we'll watch 1 or 2 of the episodes of the anime together and we can talk about it. And then for the next tiers up will be linked to writing, because there's a few people on my channel who have expressed interest in doing more writing projects and writing stuff. I've got a plethora of writing materials and resources and websites that I use, and I'm also thinking 1 month of setting up a sort of alternative NaNoWriMo, because I'll link again, there's so many links in this video. I talked about NaNoWriMo this year and my problems that I have with it, including the fact that November's just a really bad time for me to be trying to write 50,000 words. So we're going to do an alternate month, and we can do that as part of the Patreon. So that is going to be coming sort of mid-year, which I'm so excited about. And then, yeah, really that's all I've got in terms of sort of the big goals for the channel. But there's things I want to do, BBMYA and which is a panel that I'm on for judging independently published books. There's things like ARC tours, I want to be more consistent. NetGalley, I want to be more consistent. And then obviously I've got the goals that I have in my reading journal, which I will talk through now. I've split my reading into 2 goals this year. So normally I do it all together and then I combine manga and novels, but this year I've been reading so much manga and not very many novels, so I'm splitting them. The goal is 30 novels and 100 manga. I want to complete 5 series, whether this be manga or novels, I don't care, as long as I complete 5 series. 25 indie books, because I have been reading more indie, I've been reading more KU, with BBMYA I've been reading more, so I want to actually set a goal to actively and consciously read more. 200 hours of audiobooks, because again, I've let that slip and I want to get it back. Read some more LGBT books, and a wider range, because at the minute I tend to read male romance and I want to spread out more. Monthly library dates and a monthly reading date with Ren. Obviously, Ren lives in Australia, I live here, I don't get to see them in person, so to try and sort of with our long distance relationship, what we're trying to do is every month we're going to do a reading date where we read each other's favourite books and talk about it and just chill out in our PJs and stuff. And also I want to take myself to the library once a month, which is something I know Jonah does with his friends. And so yeah, I just want to get out the house more. 10 2024 releases. I wasn't too bad this year, but it still could have been a lot better. 5 friend recommendations. I now have quite a few, so I'm looking forward to getting into those. DNF more if I'm not having fun. I did DNF a few this year, but there were a few that looking back on I really wish I had, and I need to be more strict with myself and actually DNF when I'm not enjoying something. Read more on Scribd is what I wrote, but I realised it's now changed to Everand, but I have a subscription and I never use it, so I either need to use it or lose it. And then read 4 books that are 550 pages, because I have kind of dropped the ball on big chunky books lately and I've not been reading my big epic fantasies as much, so I want to get back into that. And yeah, the last sort of thing that I want to do is on Skillshare. I just want to improve my vlogging skills, and I also want to work on my Canva thumbnail. So I'm going to try and get on Skillshare or something like that to just do a few courses to help improve the quality of my vlogging and my sort of media skills, because they are getting better, but there's still stuff that I can do, and I want to get more ideas, and I want to make my vlogs a little bit less me just sitting down talking constantly, and a bit more sort of aesthetic and visual and, you know, just pretty. I just want to do a bit more and be a bit more creative with my vlogging. And then on to the personal stuff. So one of the biggest goals, as I said, I am now in a relationship. It is a long distance relationship. And so obviously I really want to work on that, and I want to make sure that we are doing things that keep the relationship, you know, going and make us not want to give up. So one of those things is the monthly sort of dates, as I said, and trying to do weekly video calls with Ren. I'm also, it's probably not going to happen next year, but I am also going to start saving to go out to Australia. Ideally, if I can go next Christmas, that would be amazing, but it might not be. It depends on other things that are going on, hopefully next year. But I'm going to start saving to go out to Australia at some point. I want to continue my candle business. I've got the links below. I always link it. This year it's been a really rough year for it, but next year I really want to go back to focusing on that. I've got so many ideas of things that I want to launch. I've got different ranges, like special editions. I want to start investing in doing like wood wicks and glass jars. And little scoopy jars with things, and I've just got so many ideas, and there's a couple of people I want to reach out to maybe try and get some of my products officially licensed. That'd be amazing. And I'm also thinking on the lines of Etsy of expanding from just doing candles and having a second shop that's going to be bookish merch and K-pop stuff. So that one will just be called like K-Beth Bookish, and that'll be like bookmarks and things like that. But that one is a maybe at some point far in the year. I have big plans to redecorate this room. So the wall behind me is going to be a dark forest green, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. But again, that will just happen as and when I can. After going to see Korea on stage in London in November, which was a big K-pop concert with multiple groups, and including my favourite group ATEEZ, who kind of came into my life this year and have completely taken over it, as seen by this. My little ATEEZ display. They have announced a world tour. We don't yet know the dates and where they're going, but they have announced that there will be a tour next year, so I'm going to that. I would love to see more K-pop concerts and sort of just learn more about K-pop and get more albums and things, because I currently own one little album just there. Is that it? I don't even know where it is. Yes, this little album behind my alpaca. It's the only one that I own so far. But I would like to just expand my K-pop love, and that will also include continuing with my health and fitness journey, because a lot of my health and fitness has been improving. Well, my health, not so much. Fitness has been, because I've been dancing and learning choreo for K-pop, so I want to continue with that. I want to continue watching the K-dramas, and I also want to start learning Korean and taking it more seriously this next year, because this year I've done it very loosely and not really picked anything up, but next year I really do want to take it more seriously. And then the final one, which is going to be, if it happens, it's going to be absolutely huge, and that is that I am going to be reapplying for university to do a degree, a second degree as a speech and language therapist, because I've got my teaching qualification. After having done teaching for 2 years, I've realised I can't cope with it and I don't do well with it, and I was struggling for many, many different reasons. But I did love the actual work, especially when we got to work with the children with like special educational needs and supporting them. And I also used to be a care worker. I worked in care homes and end-of-life units and things like that, and palliative care. I worked in that environment for about 3.5 years. And again, it's a job, I can't physically do that job anymore because of my back and health problems. But again, a lot of the things that I was doing with that are things that can then be applied with that and teaching. They blend so well together to do speech and language therapy, because it is all about helping things like children who struggle with talking and swallowing and eating, and people who have had strokes who maybe need help to learn how to communicate again. It's all that kind of thing, which are all things that I, in some way, shape or form, that I've already had experience and done qualifications in. So I am hoping to go back to university, apply through the NHS for an NHS bursary, and go back and do a second degree and specialised training in that for the next 3 years. And that is also a fantastic transferable career if I decide to then go to Australia permanently. If things should work out that way, then it's just something that whether I stay in the UK or move abroad, it's a transferable career that pretty much any country in the world would pick me up for. So yeah, it's going to hopefully be a big year. And I have a feeling there's going to be some bumps, and I think I know what those sad, not great bumps are going to be. But I'm also just really hoping for all the good things as well, and I'm just... Last year I went into the year thinking it can't be any worse than it was the year before, which it wasn't, but it hasn't been great. This year I'm going into it being, I'm feeling optimistic, I'm feeling good about the year ahead. I'm excited for the things that I've got coming up, and I'm not struggling to think of things that I want to do and things that I want to, where I want to be. I was in a very lost place a year ago, and now I'm like, I feel like I know what I'm doing and where I'm going. I just need to actually do the things. So yeah, I feel like all of these goals, they're not really sort of like from the 1st of January I must do these things. They feel like things that naturally could happen within a year, as long as I don't like try too hard to force things. The only one that I do need to kind of from day one really be on is learning Korean, but that's something that I'm going to be working on. Let me know in the comments, do you have any big plans coming up for either your reading or your personal life? It'll be interesting to hear from you. And yeah, I hope you've had a very successful 2023, and I hope you have a prosperous 2024. And whatever the goals that you are setting, whether they be teeny tiny little goal or 5,000 humongous goals, I really wish you all the best. I hope you're all good. I hope you're staying safe, and until next time, bye. Hey everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka K-Beth Bookish. I just sat on some books, and let's talk about... Oh, that was in my butt.